Jesus is alive. My best friend is alive. Okay, I have to explain. Jesus was my best friend. He helped me when no one else would help me. He saw me for who I was, who I truly was. And he healed me. And he treated me like a person. And so I started to follow him. And I got to be a part of his family. There was Mary and Martha. There was Peter and James and John. And there was Judas. Judas didn't treat me quite like everybody else. He judged me. You know, it was Judas who turned in Jesus. He betrayed my best friend. And then he went to trial. And the very people who were saying, Hosanna, were yelling, crucify him. What did he do? How did he change that much? And they mocked him, and they laughed at him, and they lied about him, and they said things that weren't true at all. And then Peter, he denied him 3 times. Everybody else was hiding. And they beat him. They beat Jesus with whips. And they spit on him. And he was bleeding. And he looked so sad and so lost and so alone. And then they made him carry his cross. He had to carry his own cross. And he fell. And he got back up. And then they nailed him. They nailed his hands to the beam and his feet. When they raised him up, the first thing he said was, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Can you imagine that? Jesus was always thinking of everybody else. Father, forgive them, he said. And then when he saw his mother, and he said to John, this is your son, this is your mother. He made him a new family. He never thought of himself. And then he cried out, why have you forsaken me? We left him, all of us. He was alone. And then he said, it is finished. And he died. And so we hurried and put him in a borrowed tomb. A borrowed tomb even. And we had to wrap him quickly because it was getting dark and it was Sabbath. It was supposed to be our Sabbath. It was our Passover. And he was dead. And so this morning, at first light, I went, and the tomb, the stone was rolled away. It was, and he wasn't there. And I was like, what did you do with him? Leave him alone. Can't even die in peace. They stole his body. And then someone said that he wasn't there and that he was alive. I thought it was the gardener. And I turned to him and he said, Mary, oh, Rabboni, teacher, you're alive. You're alive. Jesus is alive. He's alive. My best friend is alive. And he can be your friend too. Jesus is alive. He is risen. He is risen indeed.